Hey guys, it's time for another episode of We've Got Issues. Yes, it is a group of friends coming together to bring you topics from our online text thread that we think you will resonate with. It's a joy to come to you, so we hope that you are subscribing to our channel because we always seem to have information and interesting topics that I think you definitely benefit from. And today will be no different because I'm going to introduce you to our group here who we've all known each other for 40 years or more, and everybody's got something to say about, I think, what we're going to talk about today. So first, we're going to introduce our friend Ella, who's a licensed contractor, construction contractor here in Los Angeles, and a great friend of ours.
Hi, everybody.
That's Ella. We got Darren Gray, who is an educator and a STEM outreach professional with the University of Southern California. Fight on. We got Ron Evans, who's back east. He is a technology executive with a fintech company and a big Star Trek and Star Wars fan, apparently. And then we got Kevin Coffey, who is here in LA native, like most of the rest of us, and he is a lecturer at several of the universities here in Los Angeles. And welcome to you guys all as usual.
Who are you?
Not an LA native. Not an LA native.
Say what? Yeah,
Not
yeah.
an
Okay.
LA native.
The one handout. Anyway, we let him stay just because we like him. But, you know, his credit is somewhat suspect, but we'll get to that another time. So every week, one of us has the option to bring a topic, and today I have I'm in the role of providing what's been on my mind. And the reason why I'm going with this topic is because most of us are either at or around the age of 60, so we're thinking about what the next steps in our lives are, and one of those steps is retirement. And you know, many of you out there, like many of us, have tried to prepare for that time with personal investments or retirement accounts and so forth. But one of the big questions that we have to decide is, when do we start taking Social Security? So in homage to Ron, I have a clip from somebody who I think he will very much resonate with, and we'll let that kind of set the table for where we're going to go with this discussion.
The trick to knowing when to take Social Security is to know when you're going to die, and once you got that figured out, then you can calculate it precisely. Okay. Obviously, the longer you live, the better it is mathematically to take it later, because you're going to get a bigger check for a longer period of time. Okay. But if you run some math, so it usually makes sense to take it early if you're going to do what you're going to do, which is invest every bit of it. Aside from that, the basic concept is that you can get a better rate of return than they will pay you by waiting. When you die with Social Security, nothing. That's what you get. If you run the numbers out on your Social Security, folks, you will discover it's about a negative 4% rate of return in your life.
All right, so it's you're a friend of mine, Mr. Dave Ramsey, talking about taking Social Security. So just to kind of set the table for those of you who may not be aware, you can start taking Social Security as early as the age of 62. And that's a relevant number for some of us who I said either are at that number already or approaching that number. And so I'm not naming names, but something to keep it in the front of your mind for some of us on this panel. But also, there's the other age, which is the age of 67, which is considered your full retirement age, where you would get the full amount of your Social Security if you waited till 67, as opposed to a prorated amount, which is usually going to be about 30% less of what your full retirement age Social Security would be if you start taking it at the age of 62. Also, I think up until the age 70, maybe it goes even above, you wait even longer than the age of 67, your full retirement age, it goes up by a certain percentage. So you get more the longer that you wait. So my question to you guys is, have you thought about taking your retirement early or waiting later, and why? Taking your Social Security, I should say, not your retirement, but your Social Security earlier or waiting as long as possible.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yes, please.
The
first thing I always go is I ask questions before I try to give answers. So my question becomes, what is the utility in taking it at 62 versus 67 or 70? And now I understand Dave Ramsey alluded to it. Yeah, if you think you're not going to make it to 67, or if you don't think you're going to make it to any distance past 70, then it might behoove you to take it. It might make sense to take it early. But other than that, if we go by standard actuarial tables, um, why would it? What's the utility in taking it early versus waiting?
Okay. So, and again, this is not financial advice, and
Right.
I am not an expert, but from my evaluations of the pros and cons of it, there are a couple of things. If you got your full retirement at 67, but you started taking it at 62 and you get that prorated amount, you are actually benefiting by getting a lower amount for a longer period of time. Even if you live far past into your 80s, 90s, or whatever, there's a break-even point where, taking it earlier and getting a lower amount and waiting till later and getting a larger amount where that kind of evens out or whatever. And so the question becomes things like, do you need the money? Or do you feel like, to Dave Ramsey's point, I could do more with that money, even though I don't need it, having it and
do more with it,
invest it and do whatever is more beneficial, right? And the question becomes to me, and this is the philosophical part about it, right, is, are you playing offense or are you playing defense, right? And at this stage of life, like, how do you perceive I think we all believe actuarially we'll live a good long life, maybe into our 80s, 90s, whatever the case may be, God willing. But, the other side of that is, how do we feel about the stability of Social Security in general? How do we feel about what's happening in the country? How do we feel about waiting and prolonging, our benefits or whatever? So there are those things that come into question as well. So that's how I would answer your question, Kevin, about the utility of taking it early.
So I have a question. Can you take it if you're still working?
Another good point, right? So you and I, Ella, we share a common, and maybe Kevin too, share a common economic circumstance, which is that we are entrepreneurs and we don't get a check like a payroll check, right? And depending on how you set up your ability to pay yourself as an entrepreneur, you do not have to have actual income, because, to your question, at a certain level, once you get above a certain level of income, if you decide to take your retirement early, they basically reduce the amount of your Social Security if you're making above a certain amount. Now, once you get to the point where you're not making income, then you're able to recoup, that they'll take you to the place where you should be at that stage of life or whatever. But it's going to be based on you starting your Social Security benefits earlier. So if you're at 62 or you're 63 or you're 64, each year the amount of benefit you get goes up until you get to the age of 67, and then beyond it goes, you get more benefits. So to answer your question, if you're like Ron or Darren or maybe even Kevin, and you're making regular W-2 income, probably doesn't benefit you to take the retirement early, because they're going to reduce it anyway based on you getting regular income. So there's that piece. But I'll give myself as an example. The money I make through my real estate transactions goes to my corporation. And if I decide at 62, which I have not decided yes or no, that I want to reduce the amount of income that my corporation pays me personally, then I can receive the maximum potentially in W-2, in Social Security benefit, while the money stays in the corporation. I can use the corporation how I need to. So there are those kinds of caveats. Does that answer your question?
No. If I'm still working and paying into Social Security, I can still draw on Social Security even beyond. If I was working at 70 years old.
You wouldn't want to, because you would then add the income from Social Security on top of your regular income you're making. So it puts you in a higher tax bracket. So you wouldn't want to do that, because it would just give the government more money.
Well, who are you working for? You particularly, who are you working for?
No. I'm just asking, generally speaking,
Yeah.
if you're still working, can you draw Social Security?
You
And the
can,
question is
and
a
as
yes or no.
I said yes, but
Okay.
you can. But let's say you were going to get $3,000 a month in Social
Okay.
Security if you retired, if you weren't making any income. But you've decided to take it, but you're still making income. So say you're making, $70,000 a year, $100,000 a year. There's a calculation that the government will use to reduce that $3,000 a month. Maybe it'll end up only being $1,000 a month
I see. So basically, you shouldn't take it until you stop working.
until your income, whether you're working or not. Let's say you as a contractor, you have a company where your money, your clients pay that company, but you don't pay yourself, above what that threshold would be, then you can receive the full benefit, whatever that is, at age 60, 67, 70, however long you're going to work, you can
Okay.
still get that benefit. Again, not financial advice, but that's my understanding. So, any other questions before we dive into would you, wouldn't you? Let me ask the bigger philosophical question, because this is really what I'm trying to get at. At this stage of life, are we thinking about capital preservation, or are we still thinking about growth?
Growth.
Ron, when you
Growth.
think about your situation, where are you at?
Preservation, brother. Preservation.
Preservation. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
We still have, a nice percentage in equities, be it domestic or international. We're love me some Nvidia and some Apple and some Netflix, but I'm trying not to lose what we have. So
Okay.
I'm about the preservation, but we still take a certain risk because we have to, because we're going to hopefully live a long time. But I'm more focused on how do I make sure we don't go backwards, significantly backwards.
Okay. Kevin?
So how do you preserve that? How do you do that?
So super quickly, there's a couple of ways. One is you work with a financial advisor that you trust, and what they will do is they will look at your mix of 401ks, IRAs, rollover IRAs, your non-qualified accounts, and say, here's the percentage you have in the U.S. stock market. Let's say the S&P. Okay. At your age, you may want to reduce the risk somewhat because you have a lot of exposure. And then they do what's called Monte Carlo simulations, where they say, we're going to run this stock market analysis 1,000 times with 1,000 different variables. And we predict that the way your portfolio is constructed, it should grow at 8% a year or whatever. If it's too high, they may say, let's dial it back because you're getting older, things like that. So it's finding someone you can trust. We trust Fidelity.
I see.
Ella,
Okay.
to even make it more simple, there's high risk, medium risk, low risk.
Low risk.
High risk is equities,
Or certain kinds.
of certain kinds. That's probably the highest risk. Private equity, blah, 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 all that stuff. Moderate would be like you've got a mix of, say, stocks and, say, short-term investments like bonds or high yield savings or CDs or whatever. Low risk would be mainly short-term money, municipal bonds, other kinds of high asset, or high trustworthy bonds and short-term money like CDs. So Ron's saying that, basically he's probably somewhere in the moderate range where you want some upside so that you have growth potential, but you're definitely trying not to lose your capital. So you're being very conservative. So I'm being more moderate, maybe more short-term, and, half and half or 60-40 or 65-55, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, what you can do is you can think about it where, we definitely want to enjoy, like the stock market's up 15% this year. So you want to make sure that you have a certain amount of money allocated to that. But as Nick was pointing out with bond funds kick off interest, and interest you can then use for living expenses. So what percentage of your portfolio is kicking off interest, and how much is that a month? Because that plus Social Security, for example, is your money you have for retirement when you stop working.
Break, because there's some kind of sound issue that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
kind of like, does somebody have something?
Everybody mute, and then we'll come on one at a time.
Okay, Kevin, mute yourself. All right, I think it's Kevin.
It's Kevin.
It's you. Okay, you can come back. Are
So
you
Ron muted himself as well. But
Ron,
Ron
mute
and
yourself.
Kevin.
Mute yourself. Okay, come back. Come back. Okay, come back.
I'm back.
Okay, now Kevin, mute yourself again. Okay, it's Kevin.
It's Kevin.
It's Kevin. Okay, so something's going on, with the sound.
Well,
You're
back.
muted.
Come back.
Muted.
It must have
It left.
It's better
Whatever
now.
happened, it's better
I don't know
now.
what you did, but it's better now.
Yeah. In fact, at the start of the episode, you swapped something because your sound sounded different at the beginning of this episode.
I didn't touch a thing.
It's
Okay,
good now.
well, whatever it is, it's better now.
Okay.
Better now. Okay.
Let me know. And I'll mute out and mute back in. And
Okay, everybody
No,
resume the
now.
position you were in before he cut.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So in any event, so Ron is preservation, it's capital preservation. Kevin, what about you?
we're playing offense, but we're playing offense 60-40.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'm going to continue to work and earn income, I feel the greatest I'm 61. I feel the best that I've ever felt. I'm thinking better than I've ever thought. And so I'm ready to play the long game for at least, maybe not doing exactly what I'm doing now, but working until I'm 70, 71.
Okay, working to 70, 71.
Hey, man, it's my thing. That's how I have fun.
I hear you. No, I mean, hey.
Well, no, I'm looking at Ron's face, and he's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, I gotta keep busy.
Right.
And
I agree with that.
And I enjoy the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And you are like football analogies. The play that I hate the most is prevent defense.
Prevent defense. Oh my God. Preach.
I go, it just prevents you from winning.
Right.
You have played hard, you've competed hard, and that's what's got you ahead. And so now you're going to stop and do this other thing called prevent defense. Keep playing.
Play the game.
Dance with what got you there.
Brother,
Dance with the one that brought you.
Brother, but sometimes
I'm not critiquing what you're doing.
You can be in victory formation. Take a knee, brother. Put up the clock. The game's over.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not critiquing what you're doing. All I'm doing, I guess what I'm doing is I'm making an affirmative argument rather, for a different sort of action at a particular age. In other words, once you reach 60, everything doesn't have to go into a CD or a bond fund. All of a sudden, you can still be aggressive. You have to be smarter and you have to be more attentive, but you can still be aggressive and play and be smart, be aggressive, and still play offense even at an older age.
I got no problem with your strategy, but you want the game to go like 16 quarters. That's the problem I got with you.
So Ron, when do you plan to actually retire from working?
Within the next 10 to 16 months.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Ron's like, yeah. He's like, it's time. It's time. Yeah. He's in the fourth quarter of that game. I love that. Darren, what about you?
I go back to what our buddy said about the 3 questions. Do you have enough? Have you had enough? And do you have enough to do? I still haven't figured out do I have enough to do? And that is why I have no intention of retiring anytime soon, because I can't figure out what I would do the next day. That's my struggle, because I don't really have any hobbies or things that I really want to do. Everything I've ever wanted to do, I just do. and there's no, dilemma. So for me, it's less about money and more about, I don't want to retire and then die the next year of boredom. So.
Right. What about working less? Is it possible for you to work less and spend more time trying to develop those other things?
I've been doing that over the last couple of years. When I retired from the guard, the state guard, I didn't take on a new project right away. What I find is when I do less, I feel sad, not depressed, just sad. I feel sad, and I am not happy unless I am productively doing something, even with all of the the issues that we're having at work and the budget cuts and me having to work more. That's actually not a bad thing for me. So it's I don't really have a thing that I would want to do. Like the thought of retiring in 10 to 18 months would, it'd be terrifying to me. Terrifying.
I hear you.
So Darren, I mean, we've talked about your story and your career. Is it terrifying because so much of your self-worth is tied to what you do?
No, not really, because I'm trying to say this without sounding like I'm arrogant. I'm pretty good at anything I take on. It's always been that way. I can do anything I want to do, and it's not, whether it was as an engineer.
What is the arrogant interpretation of that?
The unarrogant, okay?
But it's not arrogant if it's true, right? Like if I want to do something, I have the ability to do it. I mean, it's just not that hard. It never has been. And so my self-worth isn't tied into this particular job. I can get another one. And it's just that I don't know what I would do. It's terrifying. I wouldn't know what to do. I get really sad when I don't have anything to do. Like when between Christmas and New Year's, when the university is shut down, and I struggle. I struggle a lot. Not depression, but I'm just sad, and so I got to find stuff
because
to do.
You can't go.
I got a lot of projects over here. If you need,
I just don't have anything to do. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing to do.
Darren, if that doing didn't pay money, would that be okay? If it was just doing something that was
the guard, I didn't get paid. I didn't get paid for the guard, so yeah. Right. So it's not that I didn't get paid for that. It just when I retired, it had run its course, and I was like, okay, I'm not getting any joy out of this anymore, so it's done. And I do side projects here and there. I do consulting. I do stuff here and there. But there's just if there's no joy in it, I get sad. I mean, I get really sad, and my grandkids were little, it was different because I could spend time with them, but they're in school now. So I'd be sitting at home waiting for them to get out of school. So I can't even imagine retirement.
Right. Okay. All right. And it sounds like to me, it's less about your job. It's more just about doing. Like you enjoy having a purpose. You wake up, you're going to do a certain thing or whatever. It gives you structure, brings you joy, brings you whatever. You're good.
Yeah,
I get you.
And from the financial perspective, I've been planning retirement for forever, and so I run the numbers, and I could retire early, but I would die the year after probably. So.
So when Kevin says 70, are you under or over 70?
At this point, till the wheels fall off. They take me out feet first.
Right.
Because I can't figure out anything else to do. I mean, it is. I would be really sad if I didn't have a purpose. Like when my boss, and I've spoke about him, plaque on the wall guy. When he retired, he said the hardest thing for him was not knowing what day of the week it was, because every day's a weekend. And I'm like, I don't know if that would be really hard for me.
Yeah,
I'll go work for Ella, and she'll put me on. Put me on
project manager. Yeah. So speaking of which, Ella, what's your retirement plan here in terms of how long you plan?
I'm not retiring anytime soon. I don't have enough money. I need to make more money. It's EMAC 2.0 right now. So I mean,
more retirement money or more money just day to day. Yeah.
Period. I mean, just money. Yeah, retirement and otherwise.
I
So
feel you.
yeah, it's all about growth right now.
So if you could though, like
I
how,
wouldn't.
like using Darren as one end of the scale, and Ron at the other end of the scale, where would you be emotionally if you could, if money not being an issue? How long
What
would you want to work for money? If money was no issue,
How long
doing
would I
what
want
you
to
do.
work for money if money
No, no,
wasn't an
no. If
issue?
money is not an issue,
Yeah,
how
How long
long
would
would
you
you
want?
want to work doing what you do?
probably till the wheels fall off. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd
Sister.
probably like buy houses and flip them or something, or live in. I would always be doing something. I wouldn't consider. That's just who I am, and I always would try to help people because there's just so many people in need. So
Yep.
that's who I am.
But the choices are not between working or sitting home on the couch watching ESPN or Bravo. There's charitable work, there's mentorship, there's a lot of other things that it feels like Ella, Kevin, and Darren aren't considering. It's just
Oh,
very binary.
I've considered all of them, and I may be involved in all of them. Like my next career move might be helping nonprofits either for free or as a consultant. So, I mean, all of these things are part of the mix. But as Ella and Darren has said, if I don't have things to things to do, I'm not in a good place. And I'm just one of those people. I want to work until the wheels fall off.
And
Carry
when
me
you
out.
work, and let me just clarify maybe Nick's question so I heard it correctly. When you say work, you mean working at a job because that is your primary source of income.
You know what? I could hear that coming from you as you were forming that question. We were talking about listening. We've talked about listening before. I could hear you as you were forming that question, and you're absolutely right. It's not about working a job for money. It is
Okay.
about still being productive throughout the course of one's life. And what productive means is it can mean something different for Ella, something different for Darren, something different for Nick, something different for you, Ron. So that's that's my major concern is that I'm productive, that I'm contributing, and that I'm doing something. Now, do I want to earn a little bit of money?
I want to earn a lot of
Yes.
money.
Yeah,
Yes.
and same here. I would want to, get some value. I want to have something assigned to the work, some value to the work that I'm doing. Like, you know, whether it's working with a charity, I would want to be compensated because I'm providing something, and in return, I want recognition for the value I'm providing. With the military, it was different. That was a thing that I had always wanted to do, but didn't get a chance to do in my youth. So that was fulfillment of a goal. But once I fulfilled that goal, it's like the things that I wanted to do that I didn't do in my youth was take Latin, learn to swim, join the military. So I just checked off all those boxes as when I was able to do so. But having a primary job, even if it's developing an app, working for myself, doing app development and getting paid that way, I would still want to do that.
Yeah. Ron, since you've staked your claim that in the next 18 months or so, you plan to retire from working, two questions. How do you address the issue of being productive? And two, how do you deal with the issue that I presented about taking Social Security early?
Yeah, great question. So in terms of the first question, and it is our buddy's three questions. Do you have enough to do is the third one. And right now I am trying to get enough to do so that work is in the way. And I don't have that yet. But I will say that as I continue to look at ways to spend my time, I'm looking at something about Loudon hunger relief right now. It's on my desk. and thinking about, okay, well, what are you doing to help with this K-shaped recovery and how it's unfair? So getting into nonprofits are things that I want to do. But also my wife and I have a goal to live abroad. And that means going abroad and traipsing over Europe, around Europe. And that's going to be years of fun and activities and just seeing things that we weren't able to see or do because we were so busy running the business and saving and investing. And now it's like, okay, this is the third act, and we're going to ourselves and enjoy it. So that's what I would do with my time. In terms of when will we take Social Security, question that we asked our financial advisor last week. And right now the answer is we can delay it, certainly to 65, because let's say I retired at 63, there's a 2-year period where you need a bridge. So if you have savings that you can deploy for that 2-year period, you can live off of that and then take social at 65, which would be more than 62 or 63, as you pointed out. So that's the goal right now. Things are always fluid. It could change.
Right.
So you'd be taking the principal from the savings, not the interest earned. So you'd actually be reducing your assets.
No, it's great. No. So there are investments that pay dividends and interests, and they are paying out at roughly 4.5%. So we would live off of the interest off of that. And we sort of know how much money, what our run costs will be when the kids are no longer on our payroll. So we can figure it out like, okay, this is how much we need based on how we live. Right. But it would not be principal. It would be interest and dividend income.
There's another conversation to be had about how people plan to address spending down their retirement and at what age you start to do that, because next year I will be at the age where you can start to, without penalty, take money out of your 401k, right? 59 and a half. So, again, I have not answered the question for you guys because I still have a couple years to determine whether I would even start taking the money at 62. But it is a thing that I would consider not because I don't think that I would live a long time or I'm overly concerned about those things, but like most of you, I've lived my life with a lot of delayed gratification, right? And I'm not trying to, I don't want to outlive my money, but I don't really want my money to greatly outlive me.
Right.
I want to be at a stage of life where the work that I do is not for money. It's because I enjoy doing it and it gives me the ability to do other things that I like to do. And so I want all the weapons at my disposal to be able to do that. And one thing that in my researching this topic, a lot of people who have spent years delaying gratification, stacking money, whatever, they have a hard time actually
spending it.
Actually putting it to like, okay, I've done the good job. Now it's time for you to actually do it. And whether you use that money for yourself, your kids, charity, whatever you want to do, there needs to be a time where you get comfortable with getting back some return on that investment.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
This is agree. Now I agree with you, Kevin, and Darren, and all that. And this is why I so much enjoy doing what I do. Because I spent the last decade or more determining what every day is going to look like, what I'm going to do every day, how many hours I'm going to work, how many times I'm going to play, where I'm going to work out, where I'm going to spend, like all those things. So I'm very comfortable, me as an individual, very comfortable with the freedom to structure my life the way I want it to be, right? And so I want to have an expansive view about what the money's for. At this point, the money's been an abstraction. It's something that you will use in the future. I want to get comfortable with how to be able to take what's what's available from my Social Security, from my retirement, whatever, to make it not abstract but really literal. And that doesn't mean that you just spend it all. You could use it to invest. You could use it to do whatever way. But I want my mind to be open about that. So, any other comments about how you're looking at these years? Because Ron, you make a valid point. Like, you don't want to be so over your skis that a catastrophe could, undermine that which you built. But on a certain level, income or principal protection is a little bit of a myth in its own way, right? There's no guarantees out there, in other words.
Yeah, and understand, half of our money are in equities. So we are still, I look at the S&P every day. and I look at our single stock investments every day. But because you've got, we are going to be, Lord willing, 70 and 80 and, hopefully 90. So we need our portfolios to grow over the next 10, 20, 30 years. With that said, we don't have as much runway in front of us as we do behind us. And I'm far more worried about a 25% correction than I am hoping that I get a 25% return on the S&P next year.
Right.
And that's sort of why I would say I'm more wealth preservation, because we've worked a long, long time. Like, we've worked since literally, I remember when I was 28 years old when I opened up a 401k. And I remember going in the kitchen and looking at my wife, and I held this letter that said, "Oh my God, we've got $3,000. It was a princely sum.
Right.
I just don't want us to go backwards. And that's what I fear. That's why I'd say I'm more in the wealth preservation.
Yeah. Ella, I want to come back to you because in a certain way, we share a commonality beyond just being entrepreneurs, so to speak. And you talked about working because you still need to stack, right? And I certainly resonate with that. I don't know what my number is, but I know that because my wife is also an entrepreneur, right? And there can be ups and downs with that as well. So building a war chest is still a clear and present thing.
Exactly.
Just expound on that a little bit more about what your experience has been about planning for retirement, because I want people out there who may be listening to understand that, whether you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or whatever, it's common for us to still be on the growth ladder,
Well, for me, I was more better at managing money than growing the money. And so I'm feeling it now. And that's why I said the growth. So the growth is really important right now because I've managed it well, but I haven't grown it as well. And so there's a lot of stuff that I need to do to take care of that.
When you say manage it, does that mean, say, for example, you haven't lost a lot of money or just spent money indiscriminately? You've been good at managing your savings of the income, not necessarily growing it. Is that what you mean?
Just budgets, management of finances, as opposed to the growth of the finances. You understand what I mean?
I get like you've been good at saving money, but than you've been at making money.
Exactly. Well, yeah, letting that money make money for me.
Right.
How about that?
So investing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, one thing that I'd like to throw in terms of a monkey wrench is grandchildren, because before my grandchildren came along, we had a steep growth curve. We were stacked. Things were looking green. My projections were like, wow, look at this. But when those grandchildren came along, providing additional support, supporting my son and his wife, and helping to give our grandkids, a life that would be helpful for them, that lowered the growth curve substantially. My wife took off 2 years of working to be their primary caregiver, and that decreased our net income as well. So in addition to the spending, our earning changed because we had my grandson has special needs, so he requires special care, and so that shifted our entire calculus. And so it's just something that to realize.
The thing that you guys did with the posse investment was just unimaginable. I mean, it was just fabulous. And so I wish that I had that. See, I wasn't part of that. And so I didn't get the value, the benefit and the value of that at such an early age. And that's why I'm so into education, literacy, financial literacy for everybody, because the value is you can't, is compound. You just can't even, I can't even speak to it. So I'm feeling that now.
Mhm. Yeah, you make a great point. I think, in another episode we were talking about the value of college and so forth, and one of the benefits that we talked about is who you
Exactly.
becomes part of your circle. And I know, Darren, you may not remember this, but Darren I was just recently got a job or whatever. Darren was dealing in life insurance or something like that at that point, and I bought my first life insurance policy, annuity or whatever. It was like a universal life policy.
Yeah.
Through Darren, right? And then with
A.L. Williams. I never got my check though.
It was a boondoggle that I got rid of eventually, but anyway, it was good. It set me in the right direction. But but also to Ellie, your point with Ron and some of our other friends who were who had like this financial background that I did not have. Like you, I came out of college like not knowing anything about like investing, accounting, and all that kind of stuff. But they did, right?
Exactly.
And so I was able to glean from their expertise, and that it's done well. But to that point, financial education is an ongoing thing because it never truly ends, and it's about making these decisions. Like we're talking about this decision of when to take your Social Security, when to tap into your retirement, and all those kinds of things, knowing that there's nothing guaranteed. And so I feel like we all have a sensitivity to that. But I think we all want to be actively engaged in whatever it is we're doing, so that whether where money is not an object, we still are contributing our gifts and our energy to useful purposes.
Yes.
So, anybody else have something you want to add to this before we move on?
I'm just like really Darren and Kevin's perspective on working until the wheels fall off is so foreign to me. So I guess what I would ask is, isn't there things in life that you would want to see or go do that if you had the time you could leave North America, for example, Darren, and see the rest of the world? I mean, there's so much. This is such a big planet, and to say I just want to stay working until my wheels fall off is just really weird to me.
Not
mutually exclusive, by the way. That
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you can still take vacations. You can travel. My wife loves to travel. I've never had a particular desire to do so. I mean, I've traveled, but I've never say, hey, I want to go. With the exception of Israel, I'd be curious to go to Israel, assuming that they settle the conflicts there. But for the most part, anything I want to do, I do now. I don't wait to do things that I want to do. Like I said, I took a Latin class because I wanted to take Latin. I joined the service. I wanted to join the service. Things that I want to do, I just do now. And so I haven't. There's not a whole lot of delayed gratification or putting things off. I don't really have that. If I want to go to Europe, I would just go to Europe, but I don't have that particular desire. My ex-wife has been to all 7 continents. She's been to all of them, and I helped her finance her trip to Antarctica so that I would know somebody who had gone to all 7 continents, because that was something I would never want to do, but I wanted to know somebody who did that.
Tracy did it. Oh, sorry.
She did it too? Oh. But that's just something that I would, want to I just do the things that I want to do now. so there's not something I would want to do that I haven't done. I was going to go to Nigeria for my 60th, but then, when the administration changed, I thought they wouldn't let me back. So I think I'm going to have to wait till a Democrat gets in office.
Before Kevin comes off mute, and I know this is going to sound shady. Okay, I will acknowledge how shady this question is going to sound. But what is the difference between how you're living your life and the person that grows up in a small town, population 1,000, and never leaves?
Well, I did leave, right? I grew up in Detroit and I left, and I came here
But now you're here.
Yeah, but now I'm here, and I had intended on, before my grandchildren came, I had intended on popping, smoking, leaving. But I'm here until for another 13 years. So I'm not tied to Los Angeles. I have no particular desire to be here versus anywhere else.
But you don't have a desire to go see anything else. You just want to be where you are.
Yeah, it just never. I don't like. I did take my first trip. I think it was 2 years ago, down to Monterrey, Mexico, for some award that that my job said that I had to go to, and I enjoyed being there. But I would not, I would not have gone if they hadn't said I had to go, because it's just not something that I desire to do. I mean, yeah, I'd like to go see, where the prime minister live in Great Britain, because all of the British crime shows that I've seen. They're like, oh, I want to go stand in front of 10.
Yeah, 10.
I love to go stand in front of there, but it's like my wife and I joke, like when we went, when we were in DC, and we went to the African American Museum. My wife, took her time going through exhibit. I sort of just walked through top, walked through bottom, and I was done. I don't really like. I remember what I saw. I don't have to stand there in front of an art. I don't have that thing that people do where you stand in front of a piece of art and you just stare at it. I'm like, once I see it, I have it. I can see it. I can recall it at any point. So
don't count on Darren to stop and smell the roses. He's just.
But once I smell it, I don't need to stay there and smell it. I know what it smells like.
But everybody is different. Everybody likes different things. I mean, I'm like Darren. When I went to Ron's and we went to the museum, it's like I walked through, I saw, and I was good. And I didn't want to stand in front of it. And I'm not the traveler. I just think that we just have to appreciate everybody's differences, and people like what they like. And as long as they're kind people and kind humans and they're out there doing what they want to do, then, God bless them.
Yeah. I figure it's a better life to be happy where you are than unhappy because you haven't been someplace else. Right. So they both work as long as you and your own heart feel good about it. So good, guys. Listen, you guys have, unless there's something more to add to it, I feel like you guys have really sunk your teeth into this topic, and I think that you guys at home probably have, hopefully have gotten something that will spark your own thinking as you're growing, as you're trying to grow your retirement or earn your way toward retirement. There will come a day where you have to make these kinds of decisions. So it's good to keep them in mind even before that day comes, and understanding how the whole system works, and hopefully work it to your advantage. So guys, thank you again for your feedback. And we hope to have feedback from any of you. If you've heard something that's worthy of comment, definitely drop us a comment. And again, share this topic with other people who may be in the same situation where they, it's important for them to consider this time of life. So before we get out of here, I'll go ahead and toss to my parting shot, which actually I think is a good bookend to the clip that we started with. And let me pull that up real quick. It's on a similar topic. It's a YouTube channel that I listen to because he gives really good short bites about financial things that are really easy to digest and kind of get the juices going.
If you're a woman in your 40s and you want to earn over 45 times what you're earning in your savings account, you need to do the following 4 things today. I'm Tyler. I'm a former financial advisor and portfolio manager. Now I make financial content for free, so you don't have to pay for it. Number 1, open a brokerage account through Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard. It'll take 5 minutes. It's free, and you never have to use it if you don't want to. Number 2, now link your bank account to the brokerage account. Number 3, now go to NerdWallet or Bankrate. Look up best money market funds. Number 4, and if you already have your high interest credit card debt under control, fund that account with $25 a week and invest it in one of those money market funds, like Fidelity's SPAXX or iShares SGov. These funds invest in short-term government securities, like T-bills, are very safe, are currently earning around 4.5%. 5, now take yourself out to a nice cup of coffee, because you just made enough money in interest alone to actually afford to do so without being called a financial ding-dong by Dave Ramsey. If this is helpful, sign up.
So Ryan, I thought you'd appreciate that little shout out at the end of Dave Ramsey, but yeah, he has a great channel where he gives like a lot of little tips that would be helpful in your financial journey. So there you go. So that's I think that'll take us to the end for this one. Again, it's been a joy. Ron, you had something?
Yeah, I just want to say, man, thank you for that, because I've seen a few of those videos where they're basically saying, look, this is not Wall Street advanced economics. Just take some money every week, every month, every paycheck, and just put it away. And over time, you'll see a benefit. And I loved his 5-step approach there. It was really cool. So thank you for that.
Yeah, great, man. It doesn't have to be magic or voodoo. It's just consistency and, taking steps, regularly every day. And Ellen, he was talking to women like you, hey, so there you go. It's
Thank
a
you for
double
that.
benefit.
I love that.
Double benefit. So anyway, guys, that's it for us this week. And it's been a pleasure to bring this topic to you again. We hope that you'll share it with others and subscribe to our channel. We want to be able to bring you more of this content. So until next time, we appreciate it. And guys, we'll see each of you guys soon. And we'll see you on the next time on We've Got Issues. Take care.
Peace.